Like, well, I said, we're not there yet, but I said eventually we'll be where we can do more investments and really work with them on things. Sick 'em.
Yep. I like it.
Love it.
We got some energy.
Bring
out
that
here
in the
today.
claim.
Come on. Don't use it all up right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Got know when to turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah. But yeah, Veronica was like, so how do they? I'm like, well, give it time. Give it time.
Yeah, no, it's long-term planning. So like, there's some things up front that we get, compensated on, like any form of risk management items or anything that makes sense to fit within the plan. But then long-term, it's, assets under management, stuff like that. Just kind of, slow and steady. Hey, we're making sure money's growing where it needs to grow, but also, hey, all the internals, hey, working with our team, making sure it's all everything's under compliance, legally, just making sure and tracking and all that. So it looks like J-Mo needs to get up here and get his stuff going. So I'm going to hop off for a second.
All righty. All right. Just a little bit. They asked for a little bit on TV. Should I turn it back down just a hair?
What's happening? Hey, good to see you. Yeah, congratulations. Did you get things worked out for Ashley? I think so. Okay. I mean, I didn't ever get back, but okay. We'll be fine. I have to take this. Okay. Let me know if I can help. Yeah. I think
Hey, Brooke, can I hand you this over the table real quick? And if I could get you to talk.
Check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. I'm Brooke Bednars. Something, something, something.
A little bit less. Okay. I notice all the gains are turned all the way up, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit.
Welcome to the. Oh, now I can't hear myself.
Now you can't hear. How about now, Brooke?
Welcome to the. Nope.
How about give?
Welcome to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. I cannot hear myself. I hope y'all can. Mic check, mic check, mic check. There I am.
There we go.
Hello.
Okay, perfect. I think I just need to give her a little more juice into her headset. So.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. Thank you.
Awesome. All righty. So we're going to move Robin in.
So we're going to do us
three, then Robin in. Then Seth, then Robin. Yep.
Legend moment, then we kick him off.
Yep.
And then we bring Robin on, then we bring Seth back as a home.
Perfect. Great. Yeah. How are things in Houston? You getting settled at all? Still here? Okay. Last day's Wednesday.
Yeah, so my last day here is Wednesday, and then I down there. And I start this.
2 minutes to showtime.
2 minutes. Okay.
2 minutes.
No, that's good. I'm glad you have a little bit of time in between here. Say hello to Robin real quick.
Gold. For thousands of years, its worth has been recognized. Its intrinsic value is unquestioned. Gold is persistent. Gold is timeless. Gold is iconic. Gold represents loyalty. It symbolizes not just being on the podium, but reaching the top of it, both as an element and a hue. Gold is elusive in our natural world. It stands out. It makes a statement. It carries with it an inherent rarity. And in 1897, it was selected as one of our colors, a special, unique shade appropriate for our unique Baylor family. We are a group of common people, drawn together by an uncommon purpose. Our green and gold unite us, a visual representation of the bond that we all share. They remind us that we're never striving for silver or bronze, but also that who we are as people is far more important than any medal or trophy. So let's show our colors to the nation and continue building an iconic legacy together.
Welcome to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. I'm Brooke Bednars alongside Derek Smith and the voice of the Bears, John Morris. And look at us. Can you tell it's a
everywhere.
gold out? It's good look. It's a good look for all these Baylor Bears out here on Touchdown Alley. Huh?
Absolutely. And, man, the Baylor family is bought in, looking all around here. It is a sea of gold. It's bright. It is going to make McLean Stadium stand out in a big way today.
It really is.
I love it. I'm glad Oklahoma State's wearing white jerseys because if they wore their orange, there's no way that
That
it
would be tough.
Yeah, you'd have to turn down the chroma on your television. But it's going to be bright, and isn't it fun the way the Baylor family has, like you said, bought into this?
Absolutely. And there's 20,000 pom-poms. You saw them in that video. 20,000 pom-poms that will be passed out to the first fans inside the gate at A, C, and D. So that's pretty exciting. And sneak peek, the Baylor line, of course, always
in
decked
gold.
out in gold. They already have the pom-poms at their seat.
Nice. And growl towels today,
Yeah,
too.
wave
So
them
a lot
around.
of gold.
Woo!
Well, you know, it's an atmosphere that befits this game, I think. This is a great matchup today, isn't it?
It really is. And rematch at that. Very
yes.
excited.
Yes, it doesn't seem like that long ago that we were watching that goal line play up there in Arlington. And you look at the schedule, I think we all looked at today's game. We were trying to see where Baylor and Oklahoma State when the season began. Certainly there's a lot of teams in the Big 12 that will contend for Arlington, these two included. But it's like you said, John, it's a big game. It's the two teams that went down to the wire last year for the Big 12. Two teams that very well could again this year. And to see the fans in gold, to have national TV game, two top 25 teams, it feels like everything you want for a big game in early October.
Absolutely. And it's also exciting. We do want to take note that there will be green ribbons on the back of the helmets because it is the start today of College Football Mental Health Awareness Week. John, we were able to speak with Dr. Monique Marsh-Bell this week on the Sikkim podcast. Thoughts on the fact that we're going to have that game today and we're all going to hold up 3 at the third quarter?
Yeah, and in recognition of Helinski's Hope, if you haven't heard of that, Google that. But Mental Health Awareness Week in college football to be around the nation, and Baylor is really leading the way in this area, our health and wellness area. They have put so many resources into the area of mental health, and it's just another way, that our student athletes are taken care of the best way they possibly can.
Absolutely, and they did get to announce that big special announcement. A huge, very generous donor was able to give a gift for the first time ever in the mental health field here at Baylor. So we're very excited for that. We're also very excited for the fact that the Baylor Bears went up in Ames, Iowa, and came away with a 31-24 victory last week.
It's a great way to open Big 12 play. I mean, a huge road win for the Bears last week. And I think, the team just continues to trend upward. The trajectory is upward. And that was another example of that last week. And, Derek, we're going to need it again this week. It's going to be have to be another step up this this week.
You know, the Bears last week got off to a strong start. They scored on their first drive. They scored first in the second half. They forced turnovers. They were able to make a number of individual big plays, and there really wasn't any one area in the game that they dominated, but there was no one area that they struggled either. They were as good. They were better than Iowa State in each aspect. And, you know, I know that's nothing fancy there, but that's probably what it's going to take today against Oklahoma State, a matchup that, you know, you look back, going back to 2018, save for 2020, they've all been down to the wire. Mm-hmm. They've all been close. Even when one team has started off way in the lead, it always tends to be close at the end.
Absolutely, and you got to call that very close to the end, down to the wire call. Walk us through that moment. We're going to show it later, but while you're here, we want to relive that moment with you. He didn't make it. He's not in.
It is a great week to bring that up, isn't it?
Yes. I love it. We watch it all the time. There's photos of it in the offices.
Yeah. There's one picture on my wall of that at the goal line, but it was, it was just such a great it was a great game, number one, between Baylor and Oklahoma State, matching up for the Big 12 title, and to come down to the wire, literally like that. 4 plays inside the 2-yard line for Oklahoma State, and then that 4th down epic play. It's really one of the biggest single plays in Baylor football history. I feel safe in saying that. Jaron McVay, I mean, he's got a spot, all by himself in Baylor history for that play. But it was just huge, and it really was like 3 inches. That was the difference in Baylor winning a Big 12 championship and then eventually getting to 12 wins, or Oklahoma State winning a Big 12 championship last year.
Exactly. So the Bears came away with the win last year. We're looking to come away with the win again here today. We'll be right back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Don't go anywhere. This is insanely loud.
Those?
Yeah, no.
Sweet.
Have 2.
I know you don't need any of them.
2, they're small.
Oh, I stack them up over there.
Yep. Here we go. We're going to keep talking through the show because this is what we do.
That is
This is
what
what
we
we
do.
What's your daughter's name?
Avery.
Avery.
Yeah.
We announced she was being born on the show.
I know, we
Oh,
did.
yeah,
We
That's
basically
right.
had a pregnancy announcement, and here she is.
Give them a little more. Okay.
Give me a little more. Come on, Derek.
Come on,
Don't be
Derek.
shy.
All right.
You
Here
can
we
take
go.
that with you when you leave.
Seth, talk a little more if you would, Seth.
That's going to fall, is that not? Nice.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey.
Nice call.
That sounds really good on my end. Is that how does
Yeah.
it sound pretty
Words.
good? Okay, we're talking through
Words.
Avery words and protocol and.
Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. You might be wondering, no, this is kind of odd. Normally we have the legend on here during this segment, but here's Seth Russell.
And we do have the
And
legend
we do
on.
have
right.
the legend on.
Legend of the game, Seth Russell today. Isn't that
Thank you.
great?
Analyst
Listen,
turned legend.
Yeah, you've always been legendary
Yeah,
to
you
us.
have.
Now it's
Well,
official.
thank
So
you.
there you
I
go.
had to do some brown nosing to get up here. So,
No,
Walter helped me out on that one.
What a great deal. What's that like when you get that call? Hey, we want to recognize you as the B Association legend of the game.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. It was about a couple months ago, and Walter just called me out of the blue. He was like, "Hey, you can turn this down if you want, but we want to recognize you as a legend, with everything you've done." And I'm like, "Man, that'd be really cool. I mean, y'all must be really scrounging the bottom of the barrel to find people to put up here." And he just laughed, and And but no, it was a really cool opportunity, and I'm very thankful, very honored to represent, obviously, the university that I love and that graduated from and represented. So it's definitely an honor to be up here with you guys.
That's great. Why would anybody turn that down? Why would you even say that's an option?
I was about to say.
That's what I thought too. I was
Right.
like, okay, where's this heading? I'm not sure if it's like if it's something I got to go overseas or something. I'm not
Right.
sure, but I wouldn't have turned that down either. But it was cool. It was
Well,
cool.
I know we normally are sitting here asking you your opinion and your thoughts on the game, but I want to hear about your career. Obviously, we've touched on it before. There were some pretty significant injuries in there that cut it short. But when you were able to be on the field, we have some highlights of you that we're going to show. You had some pretty big plays that led to some very big wins. So what's it like to be back as the legend and reflecting back on these highlights?
Yeah, no. Selfishly, I can say like once Walter called me, I was like, well, what film are they going to pull? And so I kind of like when it started
All the
looking,
good stuff like this.
yeah, I started going
Look
back
at the
and
leap.
oh gosh,
The hurdle.
Beautiful.
It's kind of bittersweet,
The
that play.
hurdle, yeah.
Got tripped up right there at the very end. Just couldn't put pull my heels to my ankles. But all good though. But yeah, no, it's just looking back at the career. I mean, I wouldn't have traded for anything. I mean, obviously the injuries would have been a little different, but I'm thankful, right? I mean, I'm able to be here with you guys, and I mean, there's so many different things that could have happened. Just with us and just with my family is all here today to be able to share with this in this moment, and I'm very, very thankful.
Seth, you had to wait. You had to wait in the wings to get that starting role. That's the way things went. Bryce Petty ahead of you. He waited. You were around a lot of really good quarterbacks. You mentored a lot of really good quarterbacks. What was that atmosphere like in the QB room when you were there, as you were waiting to get the starting role, and then once you were there?
Yeah, it
quite
was.
the room.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we had a phenomenal quarterback room. I mean, get up to Coach Bryles and just with his recruiting mentality and how he's able to bring guys in that really fit what he was looking for. Obviously, Nick being a fifth-year senior, I mean, that dude was actually fourth-year senior. So because he started in 1 year, burned his red shirt. But I mean, that dude was a stud. He was super smart, very intelligent. I mean, I learned a lot from him just from his decision making, and of course Bryce, following his footsteps. Him and I had some tiffs on the field and off the field, just from a competitive standpoint, right? Because I always thought that I should be out there. And then
Well,
of
if you're
course,
not competing.
yeah, exactly. If
you
you're not
shouldn't be
competing,
there.
then what are you doing? But no, we had a great relationship there in the film room, off the film, I guess in the practice field, and just really competed against each other, made each other better. But yeah, just looking from just the whole standpoint of just that quarterback room, like I said, yeah, the young guys that were coming after me, I really wanted to give into them, and just from an understanding, hey, let the offense work for you. There were a couple times that KB would come up to me after I change a play every once in a while. He goes, dude, trust the offense, right? We've only been number 1 and number 2 in passing and rushing the past 4 years. I think it does okay for itself. You don't have to
Figure it
adjust
out.
as much, yeah. And so, but yeah, just believing in the system. I mean, that's just buying in, and I think that's really what the team that we had. I mean, we were bought in.
It's great to have your family here. You mentioned them. Daughter Avery is over there, and your wife Ashley, who was a soccer player here at Baylor.
Yeah, no, they're sitting in the wings over there, just representing. Right now, it's Avery's nap time, so we'll see how
Pushing nap time.
how that works out. But we have my parents are here as well. My brothers are all coming in from
Nice.
out of town, so it'll be we'll have a full crowd for sure, and we'll be cheering loud.
Remember those days, in particular, with your brother who was in West Virginia at the hospital there, and just how all that came together. I mean, it's really you could write a book about that, about what you went through with that neck injury.
Yeah, I got about 8 pages in.
Did you? Okay.
And then life kind of took me in a different route,
Okay.
and I haven't got back to it. It's in rough draft form. But yeah, no, just it's really cool how the Lord just kind of puts you where He wants to put you. It's like, why did He put my oldest brother, who was in his residency in West Virginia? Long story short, the surgeon who actually did my neck surgery was at the same hospital that he was placed at.
Wow.
So just, I mean, it's definitely a godsend, and just that opportunity, and just how it all unfolded to where we're at today. It's like what you want never really turns out, but it always ends up being better than what you expected. And so just keeping the faith and believing in, and it just all worked out really perfectly.
Well, how does it feel to be a legend?
It's
a
cool.
dad.
Yeah, it's
Girl
great.
dad.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a dad is number 1, obviously, on the list, and being a good husband and a great husband. And I guess legend can fall in third, which is
Yeah.
okay. I guess I think people will agree to that at some level.
Absolutely.
But no, it's an honor for sure to represent the university, and I'll continue to do them proud.
Well, it's a true honor to have such a true Baylor family here today. We're excited to celebrate you as a legend and then get you back on the desk to be our analyst here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But don't go anywhere. Give it up for Seth Russell, our legend of the game.
All right. Way to go, Seth.
And we'll be right back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show right after this.
Put you on a pedestal, Brooke, but maybe not quite.
Hi, Robin Jones. Can you hear me?
Not that
Testing,
much.
1, 2, 3.
That's
Testing,
crazy.
1, 2, 3. Testing,
Oh,
testing,
my
1, 2, 3.
goodness. That was almost dangerous.
You got me? Good.
Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. We are now joined with our guest defensive analyst, but we wanted to take some time to get to know you and reflect on the good old days with you as well. You came in as a linebacker. He switched over to defensive line, but that's where he got the nickname Big Cat. This is Robin Big Cat Jones. Thanks for being our guest defensive analyst this week.
It's my pleasure to be here. This is always great to be part of this Baylor pregame show, and just, a guy like myself, we really look forward to doing this type of stuff.
Hall of Famer coming back.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here and sharing. Hey, you're part of some pretty great Baylor defenses. When you look at this D-line now, does it remind you of some of the ones you were part of?
Yes, it does. I will go on record saying that I think our line was just a little better.
Ooh, fighting words right there.
Yeah. I would say the thing that we had is that we had guys that could actually create a pass rush one-on-one. And, Santana was always, getting back there. So my thing was to race him to the quarterback. So that's how I got my sacks. I must beat him to the quarterback. So,
Big Cat, how is it different these days as you watch not just Baylor football but college football in general? How is it different with the defensive line play compared to when you were here?
Yeah, so I would say, during our time, everyone was like running veer offenses. There were a few run and shoot teams, but, now there's more opportunities to actually rush the passer. So to get back there, to create sacks, make them happen. Back in my day, teams were like lining up, running straight at you. So it was more physical.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hard-nosed run option. This guy's getting the ball, stop him if you can. So it was a lot more physical than what I see now.
What's it like to be back here? I know that you guys usually are tailgating over there. We stole you and brought you to the other side of Touchdown Alley.
Yeah,
but what's it like to be back and to be watching this team building on the success of the foundation that you guys set? You
know what? I really love it. I've been coming back every year since graduating, and just to see, where we come from. The old stadium, but this tailgating is wonderful. Some of my old teammates, Lee Brewer, we all kind of hang out in the corner over there, and, just the fellowship and the fun, the friends, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, my whole life is revolving around this football season, this tailgating. This is what I do, so I love it.
Well, we're happy to have you be a part of it.
Thank you so much.
And you really have. You've been very intentional about coming back. I mean, you've always come back. You're a real contributor to the B Association, and you're kind of you're kind of a Pied Piper. And when you come, guys come with you also. That's we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. No problem at all. Once a leader, you're always a leader. So, those guys who played, with me, saw me as a leader. So whenever I want to do something, they support me and I support them.
What's it like to be wearing the gold and rocking the gold? I heard you went and got this shirt specifically today for this gold out. It's pretty cool when you look around and you see a whole sea of gold really out here supporting the Bears.
Yeah, I did. And I actually learned something from Seth Russell. He actually was given a shirt. So I should have waited to get a free shirt.
Oh, here we go. Nice pitch. Very good.
So, I should have waited. But,
Well played.
No,
Yeah.
No, it's no problem at all, man.
We'll make sure we cut that piece and send it to the people who need it.
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. But, I enjoy, wearing Baylor stuff. You very rarely see me without something Baylor if I'm not working, right?
Yeah.
So I love a Baylor hat, a Baylor shirt. So I love supporting my school.
Well, tell us what you do and a little bit about your family and what you've been doing since you were playing here at Baylor.
Yeah, so I am currently an account executive with FedEx. So I sell FedEx services to companies, business to business. And, I have 3 kids. One is a Baylor graduate.
There you go.
She's actually here somewhere running around. She's supposed to be here watching me, but she's not. She's probably like
it's a
me.
long show.
Yeah.
She's got time.
She saw, She's just like her dad, going around being social to everybody. Then I have 2 more students at North Texas.
Okay.
And so the oldest is actually getting her master's in December from Mary Hardin Baylor.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So
It's in the Baylor fam.
Yeah,
Counts.
kind of, yeah. So parent, father of 3 kids, married to my high school sweetheart for that many years, and just enjoying life, man.
You're a Baylor legend. You played with Baylor legends. You also worked with a Baylor legend, Michael Johnson. Tell us about that, if you would.
I did. I was privileged to actually travel the world with Michael Johnson, supporting him. I saw countries that I never thought I would see. Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Belgium, Japan.
What a list.
And to be there with him, I was a big fan of his, and I was a friend of his too. So that was mainly the first thing. We were friends. But I was always a fan, and just to see him accomplish his goals that he wanted to do, and to help him out however I needed to help him. So I was there.
Obviously, we know him as an Olympic gold medalist. Could he have played football too? I mean, could he? I don't know. You've seen him up close as anyone.
No, he wasn't cut out for that. He was fast, but he wasn't cut out for this action.
He asked when he was in school here. We asked him that question because that came up every once in a while, and he said, "No, man, I don't want to get hit." It was great.
Can you blame
He
him?
knows his strengths.
But as fast as he was, I mean, you'd have to catch him before you could hit
Oh
him.
yeah. I mean, I have a funny story. Is that we were at practice, and Ray Crockett, who was a good friend of his, and they were running, I guess like 300s, right around. And Crockett was a super, played for the Broncos, cornerback, super athlete, right? But running next to Michael Johnson, it looked like me running with Michael Johnson. I mean, Michael was just a machine, man.
It's a different level.
Track athletes are just a totally different machine.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You were also a member of the class of 2019 Hall of Fame. That had to be a special moment when you got that phone call.
Yes, it was. 2019 was a challenging year. Mom passed, had hip replaced, and then one day I sitting in my office, I get a phone call from Walter, and he told me, man, it was just, wow. It was just, I never thought it would be that emotional for me, but it really was an emotional experience. And just to be included, this university I love so much, and to be a part of that and say, you know what, you belong here with, for the rest of your existence, right? So once I pass away, my kids would know my dad had some history over there. So that was good to have.
Very deserving.
Yeah. Well, we are happy to have you. We're going to keep you around and pick your brain as a defensive analyst for us in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. This is the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show live from Touchdown Alley.
Mic check. Mic check.
Okay, Seth,
Mic
you
check,
are in.
Mic check. Mic check. Hello, hello, hello.
Seth
Welcome
is
to the
very low.
show.
How about now? Keep
Mic
talking,
check,
Seth.
Mic check.
Welcome to the show. Mic check. We are here.
I
at
love
Touchdown
Avery's
Alley.
shades.
Yep, she just won them because she threw the
just
ball.
won them?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, my
Seth's good. All right, I'm going to
I
talk
think we're
here.
good.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test.
We're good because we're
All
coming
right.
back into a package.
Testing.
Okay, I'm going to turn myself down just a hair. That's a little better. That's a little better, I hope. Robin, would you give us a just give us a little level here, real quick?
Sure. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Robin Jones. Testing.
Going to crank you up just a little. Up a little bit. Okay.
Testing. Robin Jones. Testing.
Okay, that's high, and then.
Is that a little bit low still? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Okay, how about now? Give one more, Robin, if you would.
Testing.
Well, that's me. Sorry.
Testing.
With 3:23 remaining, down by 5 and no timeouts.
Can the Cowboys punch it in? Jackson snuffed after he got about half of what they needed. 2nd and goal. Jackson again tries to go up and over and did not get in. On 3rd and goal. This time they will try to throw it. Up for grabs and incomplete. And the Big 12 championship comes down to this play.
4th down and goal from the 1. Handoff, running left, trying to get to the corner. He did get there. He did get there. He stopped short. He is stopped short of the goal line. Bears hold the Cowboys out of the end zone. Baylor's going to take over. They hold the Cowboys on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. Jerry McVay kept him out.
Big 12 champs.
Ooh, got some chills. I don't care how many times I watch that final 4 plays right there, especially that last one where Jerry McVay made that amazing tackle to save the game. Seth, you made some noise. Ooh, when you watch that, the emotions get you going.
Yeah, it gets you pumped. I mean, that's the reason why you play the game, right? It's literally, they say it's the game of inches.
Yeah.
And that is a prime example of what that looked like. And every time I watch it, I feel like it gets a little bit closer and closer to the pylon, but it never ends up hitting it. And so,
Thank goodness.
thank goodness, yeah. No, this is. I mean, if you didn't circle this game on your calendar for this season, then I don't know. I don't think you're a Baylor fan,
Oh,
right?
I like that.
That's pretty harsh.
No,
don't
but
take
that-
offense to it, but.
Look at all the people that are here that
Yeah.
circled it on their
Oh,
calendar.
they're representing really well
Yes.
today with the gold out. I don't think I see anything but gold out there. And so, I'm amped for today. I know the players are going to be amped. I know Oklahoma State has probably watched that play a million times, right? And they're going to take that energy into today, and we got to be able to match it.
What about you when you see that? As a defensive guy, I mean, that's what you live for.
Yeah. I mean, that guy, his effort that he put in to race that guy to that edge and to beat him there and to make that stop. I always think, though, that running back, if he just plant his foot and go forward, he would score.
His loss.
Yeah, his loss. That poor kid, man. I feel bad for him, but so great for Baylor family, man. I mean, that was just amazing.
Well, when we look at this game and we talk about, circling it on the calendar, the excitement and the hype of what it is, this Big 12 championship rematch, we also need to remember and take note, and this is something that Aranda's been preaching to the team, but when you look back and you look at the big significant plays, the interceptions from J.T. Woods, that big tackle from Jerry McVay, Terrell Bernard doing his thing, a lot of those impact players are no longer here. They're representing Baylor in the NFL, and we're super happy to have them. But this is a different team going into today's game.
Yeah, absolutely. To feed off that, I was going to lead into that, but you beat me to the punch, Brooke. So good job. It's like you've done this
Thank you.
before. But no, I think looking at just from a year to year, right? You can't look back at last year and say, hey, we expect that this year, right? There's going to be differences. There's going to be different playmakers. There's going to be guys, that weren't playing last year that are making big plays and that are kind of rising to the occasion. And I think a lot of those guys have really done a great job on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, just look at what they've done. Right. I mean, they've risen to the occasion. They've answered the call. The offense last week looked really good. Really, honed in on what I feel like they're growing their identity. They hadn't really figured that out yet. I think they figured out at least 90% of it last week, and I think that'll roll into today.
But Derek, one of the people that made a big impact of that game was quarterback Blake Shapen. That was his first true start. He was the most outstanding player, set records with 17 straight completions in the first half. That's got to be exciting to see him have been in that game. He stepped up to the challenge. He knows what it's like to play these Cowboys, and then now coming into today as QB1.
Absolutely. And, it's funny because I thought last week was his best game, but he's won far bigger games in his young Baylor career than the one on the road against Iowa State. But I thought it was really his best all-around effort. The deep ball was there. He was protected. He hit on some short passes. They were able to get everything going for him to really do what you have to do to win on the road. And I think you factor in the fact that he did. He's played in the Big 12 championship game where it's a title or not. He played in the game against Texas Tech where if they don't win that game, they don't go to Arlington. So you like to think all those little things he experienced last year have fed into the quarterback he's going to be again today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's any bit of experience that you can get, whether it's, hey, first game of the season or last game of the season. I mean, it's going to roll into just looking back at game film. Hey, what did I do? What could I have done better? Right? I mean, personally, is from game to game, I'm looking at, I'm pretty hard on myself just from a, an offensive standpoint. And so we're looking at just, hey, what can we get better at? Is it our feet? Is it our release? Is it where we're putting the ball? What are we looking defensive-wise? Hey, they have a totally different defense this year. And so, hey, how can we adjust to that? How can we make sure that we're making good decisions with the ball?
Coach Aranda really talks about not hyping up a game too much. I think that BYU game earlier in the year, that was pretty hyped up. It was the first time we were going out there. They were really excited, but he's trying to bring it down. Next week is a bye week for the Bears. How much does that play into truly leaving it all out on the field, knowing you have time to recover and rest next week?
Yeah, as you come out of camp, starting the season, you start getting dinged up, your shoulders, legs get a little tired. So it's nice having an open week coming up. So you really know I can give it on my all this game. We all have a little reserve within ourselves, even though you don't realize, but you always reserve a little bit. But knowing that you're off next week, you can really lay it out. It's up to the coaches to really push that out of you. But knowing that I'm off next week, knowing this is who they are, Oklahoma State, I expect our guys to be ready for this game and play their hardest this week.
They're ready for the game. We're ready for the game. We'll be right back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show right after this.
Bit, Brooke, for me.
Mic check, 1 2 3 1 2 3. When we come back to this one, I'm going to intro us back, and I'm going to toss straight to this soundbite.
Okay.
I'm going to bring us right back to thank you.
Very good.
Right back into this soundbite, and then we'll talk about that.
Sweet.
Welcome back to Touchdown Alley here for the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. We were able to talk with Coach Aranda earlier this week, and we asked him, when you look at the Oklahoma State Cowboys, what are you going to expect? And he said that there's a lot of history when it comes to their offense, but a couple of things are changing.
There's been a constant, tight ends or three backs in the backfield. Is it one high? If we do there's 8 gaps in there. If we do match the gaps, taking shots on the outside, if we play with safeties that are back, and we have 7 for their 8, then running the ball, I very much see them that way. And so I think that's a consistent. They're playing with a lot more tempo. And right now, I think they're the second fastest team in the country in terms of tempo.
Robin, when you think about tempo and you look at the scores of OSU's games already this year, they've had 3 all at home, but they've found the end zone, and that's got to be credit to that tempo.
Yes, it does. Playing defense, you hate offenses that go fast. One thing I think about is breathing, right? And you rushing the passer, and you 3rd and 7, they get first down, they're coming right back at you. You just rush the passer. Now it's 1st and 10.
Yeah.
So you're and they're coming at you, right? So hopefully we were able to prepare for that this week, because until you face it, it's kind of hard to really deal with it.
I think it's a fascinating matchup from that standpoint, and the fact that we are far and away the best team Oklahoma State has played this year on both sides of the ball. They're going to be the best offense that we've faced from this standpoint. Seth, I want to ask you, from the tempo side of things that Oklahoma State brings, they got a veteran quarterback. He'll throw it up there a little bit, but where will you be watching Baylor's defense most closely? We know what the line can do, but where do you think are some key areas that you would worry about as a quarterback or attack as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think Spencer's mobility, right, is going to be a big factor in this game. I know that Aranda and the team there are going to do a really great job of either having a spy or doing some crazy blitzes up front. Get him uncomfortable. Get him moving out of the pocket. He's not super accurate moving out of the pocket, which I think is going to be where Baylor's going to have to push him. If he's going to sit back there and you're going to rush 3 or 4, and he's able to sit back and look pretty and let the receivers do what they need to do, it may be a long game. But I think if we can get some pressure on him up front early, move, condense the pocket, make him see some ghosts, with some flashes, whatever that is, he knows what I'm talking about. And so
got some head nods over here.
Just from he's got a lot of experience. He understands defense. Baylor's going to throw a lot of weird looks at him. And I think it's just you got to just keep him guessing. If he's anticipating what you're doing, we got to change it up.
Well, and he's really good through the air. Obviously, we all know that. He's had 305 yards per game so far. But like you said, Baylor will be their toughest competition to date. We also need to look at their running game. That's Dominic Richardson. He is leading them for rushing 215 yards and 2 TDs. But then Spencer Sanders is close right behind that. So you know that if it's not going to him and he's staying on his feet, then he's going to be that. But he's also going to be met with the 9th nationally ranked Baylor defense, where that is in rushing defense.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, top 10 right there. Woo! Yeah.
Let's get it. Yeah. So I'm very impressed with this defense so far. Those linemen, must contain rush. If you have a guy that can scramble, you must rush, but stay within your own lane. Don't get wide, because if you get wide, he's going to exploit that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So control rush, control the lineman, collapse the pocket on him, and we know that if you get pressure on him, he'll throw it to you. So let's bring pressure on him. He'll throw it to us. We win this game.
What do you think it says about this group for the Cowboys that Sanders is their second top rusher?
Yeah, I think it just plays into him maybe making too many plays that he doesn't need to. Maybe he doesn't trust what he's seeing downfield. He's second guessing. I think he's done a great job up to this point decision making, right? I think he's made some very mature decisions, tucking the ball, running, but then also that could hurt him, right, long term. But then moving out of that just kind of into, hey, offense is going to do what they're going to do. Defense is going to stop the run. They're going to make them one-dimensional, kind of like we did Iowa State last week. And if we can really shut down the run, that completely takes them out of the game. That's going to mess up their rhythm, right? Because defense is going to be doing what they need to do. They're going to get receivers on and off the field. If they're running long routes, then I think it's going to help slow things down a bit. They're going to take shots, which that's what they're going to do. But if we can keep them, hey, get set, change what they're going to do up front, that allows the defense to really throw some really kinks in the against them this week.
Speaking of rhythm, they've had 3 home games, all against weaker opponents that aren't conference. So today will be their first the first conference game. They're coming off of a bye week and their first real test. Have they even been able to get in a rhythm, do you think?
Probably not. I mean, until you're really, tested, you don't really know what your team is made of, right? And so if you're going up against kind of, weaker opponents up to this point, hey, a lot of those games have been home games, haven't been really road tested yet. I mean, that's where championships are won on the road, right? You can win games home, 9 out of 10 times you play, but once you get pressure, you're in a hostile environment. Hey, things aren't going to go your way. The bus is going to break down. The beds are going to be hard. The food's going to suck.
Yeah.
Right? You just got to be able to overcome.
You name it.
Right? And so it's all going to be based around mentality. And if Baylor can come out and knock them in the teeth early, it's really going to knock them off their rhythm.
Absolutely. Baylor got to overcome that BYU game. We saw the effects of it last week with that 31-24 win over Iowa State, and we're hoping to keep the ball rolling into today. We'll be right back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show right after this. All right, how am I doing on time? Because I went over on several. Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. If this is your first time at a Gold Out, well, welcome. We're excited to have you. This is also the first time for a Gold Out for true freshman Richard Reese, who is running all over the field and finding his way into the record books. We have to feel good about having that young gentleman step up to the plate when his name was called.
Absolutely. You look at him. Tamick Williams, who went into the season as the starter, has dealt with injuries since early in the BYU game. Somebody was going to have to step up, and Richard Reese has done that. Seth, he had 150-plus yards and 3 touchdowns against Texas State. I was more impressed last week. That was November-style running up in Ames against their great top-ranked rushing defense. What stood out to you about his ability to sort of run tough in a tough environment?
Yeah, he's not the biggest guy, right? But he runs big. And I think he's as a running back, whenever I would take myself as a running back sometimes, you run to butts. Right, you run to butts, and he's done a great job following his offensive lineman, really reading those cuts. He's still young, though, right? I mean, maybe his vision is going to grow a lot more over the years. But right now, if he can just stay technical, right, running with his offensive line, hitting those holes hard, tiptoeing is not a good sign to see, right? Tiptoeing is basically, hey, you're kind of hesitating, waiting to get into the hole, and that's whenever those defenses are moving. They're flowing. And if you can hit those holes hard, which is what he's done, he's going to be able to hit those creases and make some big plays.
Yeah, he's really had the audacity to see that and turn upfield and cut it. Coach Aranda mentioned today or earlier this week, he has the ability to learn. He's really taking coaching, which is important, and he's way selfless. When you think about a running back in that regard, That's got to be an important quality.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make sure that your coach trusts you, right? Not to fumble, hit the hole hard, hit the hole that you're supposed to hit, right? And because the blocking is designed for the running back to hit a certain hole. So to me, he's earned the coach's trust to where he will not turn the ball over. He's going to be in the right place. He's going to block when he needs to block. So I'm impressed with him so far.
Thinking back to last year's game and the success of the Baylor Bears against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, it was really Abram Smith ducking his head, finding he was looking for the hit. He had that linebacker mentality about him, but I think we're kind of seeing that a little bit in Richard Reese. He is not afraid, he's not tiptoeing, and he is looking for that hole and punching it through.
Yeah, and that's going to wear down on a defense, right? I mean, if you keep chipping away, I mean, you're hitting against the wall. I mean, that wall is going to come down eventually, right? And offensive line with what they've done the last 2 weeks up front. Now, last week, rushes per yard weren't there, but it was just a chipping away, right? That opened up a lot of the pass run because they were really condensing the defense. They wanted to shut down the run, and they did at some level, which opened up, to let Chapin to make plays down the field. Get those receivers out there in open space, right? Give them the ball. Chapin is a great decision maker. I trust him with the ball in his hand, and he did a great job last week, and I expect that to roll to this week as well.
It's also important to set the tempo, whether you're on defense or offense. Really get yourself out there and set the tempo before the other team has the ability to do so. Bears are 8-0 and doing that. So far in our 3 wins this year, they have scored in the first possession, really set tone. But, of course, when you talk to Coach Aranda, it's just that's what happens when you execute.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you know what? Whatever they're scripting before the games is working out really, really well. But in a game like this, that is going to be big, that first drive, because Iowa State had an elite defense. Oklahoma State's is not elite, but they have some elite players. That defensive line, they've got the Colin Oliver, the reigning Big 12 Freshman of the Year. It's going to be important to let those guys know it's going to be a long day early, and they're going to be chasing you all day, Robin.
Yeah, exactly. When I was here, we always put the defense on the field first. Opposite of said, our defense was
y'all played in 2 little different areas.
Yeah, totally.
Give me the ball.
Totally two different. Exactly. So we always had to set the tempo. It was a given. You win a toss, defense going first.
Yeah.
And it was because we were physical, we were nasty. We was trying to set the tempo, give offense, get them time to get into the game. So we always win first.
I love it. Speaking of defense, Coach Aranda said that historically the offense, for the Cowboys is fairly similar, but this year they do have a new defensive coordinator. He's formerly the head coach at Vanderbilt, and so Coach said that that's where those adjustments will be made for the Bears. How different is it, when you going into a team that you have some history with, but the defense is going to be different?
Yeah, I think you just still attack the same way, right? I mean, you're going to watch the same film. It shouldn't matter from last year, this year, because they're totally different teams, right?
Yep.
Totally different schemes. But I think just from the coaching staff has done a great job up to this point of really breaking down, I feel like, what those defenses have done. Now, whenever I played, whatever we watched on film, we never saw that on the field. It was always completely different. So it's going to be up to the coaches to really determine how they're going to adjust on the fly, which they've done a great job up to this point, not be complacent, not go into the first snap like, hey, we're not going to change. Like, you're going to have to adjust. They're going to throw some weird looks at you, and you just got to be able to make those changes along the way.
Absolutely. And what about the effect of their own offense's tempo? That's got to play a key factor into how that OSU defense is going to approach the game.
Oh, 100%. I mean, based off of whenever we played, I felt so bad for our defense because we were on and off the field within a minute and a half, 2 minutes, right? And they were
finding the end zone.
Yeah, finding the end zone. They were sucking air, and so I see that being a downside for them, for their defense today, because hey, our defense is really chipping away. Our offense chips away, 4, 5, 6 minute drives, and if they're doing 2 minute offenses, the second half is going to be really rough for them.
I'm not against that.
Sounds all right.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show right after this. Don't go anywhere. We're going inside the numbers.
There we go. And we welcome you back into the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Gold Out Saturday here at McLean Stadium, Baylor and Oklahoma State. And it's time to go inside the numbers. And Brooke, Seth, Robin, to me, when I look at the numbers this week, it's Spencer Sanders. Can you harass him and force him into interceptions? Because we've done that. Last 3 games against him, he's thrown 5 touchdowns, but 10 picks. The defense has harassed him. They forced him into mistakes. And Seth, 3 of the last 4 games against them have been 1-score ball games in the fourth quarter. That's obviously been huge. You've seen this guy play enough now. What stands out to you about what Baylor needs to do to get him in those situations once again?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it earlier, as it's really condensing the pocket, right? Really kind of getting him very uncomfortable. If he just sits back there and lets the receivers do what they need to do, he's going to find them, right? He's going to find the guys. He may oversell 1 or 2 of them, but I feel like he's probably going to take last year very personal, right? Personal. Hey, 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions. That's unacceptable in a big game like that was last year. I know he's going to roll that in, but I think just from what they can do up front, right? Hey, just finding ways to get pressure at him, whether you're jumping leapfrog over somebody, whatever it is, I don't care. You got to get in his way, get his vision down rather than up, looking for those receivers down the field.
When you're a quarterback that has repeatedly thrown picks against the same program to where you have 10, I mean, if we looked at his overall majority, I'm sure it's against Baylor. How do you get that out of your head?
Seth hasn't experienced
it. No, but if.
What are those? No, but yeah, I think from just experience, right? If he's a competitor, right? That's why he's on the field playing for a Division I football team, right? He wants to be the best every single time, and he's got to be able to clear it, right? And he didn't do that last year, right? He didn't clear those interceptions. He made mistake time and time again, and Baylor's got to continue to stay in his head on that end.
Obviously, it all starts up front. We talk about that on both sides of the ball, but when it comes to interceptions, the names and the stats go to the guys who make the catches, but it all starts up front with that D-line.
Yes, it does. It does. What you want to do is create pressure, but at maximum what you want to do is put him on his head. If you put the quarterback on his head, because he's not made for that. I know this sounds a little violent. This is a family show. But you want to put the quarterback on his head because then he's not in his element.
Right.
He's not made for that. So, yeah, you want to cause the pressure, happy feet, not be comfortable, throw the ball, panic, interception will happen.
What are your thoughts when we're looking back at those interceptions? The fourth one was a tip up to defensive lineman Braden Utley. You gotta be pretty proud that your big guy got that pick.
I know. I never got a pick. I recovered some fumbles and called some, but never got a pick. And I would have had a celebration dance already set, but I never got that opportunity. So
the penalty. Just already have it ready.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get you 15.
Yeah.
Derek, last week against Iowa State, the Baylor defense finally connected, got those 2 big interceptions. They got the taste for it now, and they've got to be hungry. They know they can do it. How big of an impact is that going into this week?
I think it's big. They got the first 2 interceptions out of the year, got legit pressure throughout the second half. Bryson Jackson, Big 12 Player of the Week, stepped up. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week stepped up big. And, you look at this series, 3 of the last 4 games have been 1-score games in the fourth quarter. It's not just Jared McVay. There's been some dramatic moments throughout. Feels like discipline and getting home when you have the chance really is what brings home the W for the Bears in this series.
Oh yeah, it's doing your job, right? Doing where you need to be, making plays, putting pressure where it needs to be done, and just making sure that you're doing your assignment, right? The first quarter is alignment, second quarter is assignment, third quarter is technique, and the fourth quarter is effort, right? And you got to be able to make sure.
That's good, yeah.
Hey, that was back in my day, so it was a few years ago. But just making sure that those are done on a quarter-to-quarter basis. Baylor will walk away with the W today.
He sounds pretty confident. I like that, huh?
He does, and I'm in total agreement with him, too.
All right. Well, thank you all. Congratulations to you, the Baylor legend. Robin, thank you for being a fantastic guest defensive analyst. Derek, crushed it as always.
You too, Brooke.
We're rocking the gold. It's a gold out. We're super excited. It's a gold out, sold out game for this Big 12 championship rematch between the Baylor Bears, number 16, and the number 9 OSU Oklahoma Cowboys. We appreciate you for tuning in. Don't forget to hold up a 3 going into the third quarter for college football Big 12 Mental Health Awareness Week. We appreciate everything. Go get your rally towels and your pom-poms, and we'll
that
see you
gold.
in there. Yeah, rock that
Yeah.
gold. Sick 'em Bears. Thanks for watching the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.